Hey everybody, it's Chris Peters from FloHockey with another scouting report for the 2023 NHL Draft. And today we're going to focus on our number 8 prospect on our final draft rankings that you can read on FloHockey.tv, and that's Zach Benson of the Winnipeg Ice. Now, Benson's been a top player for this draft throughout the entire season, and there's a lot of reasons why. Most notably, he was a leading player on one of the top teams in junior hockey. Winnipeg was one of the best teams in the WHL, went all the way to the championship series before ultimately falling to the Seattle Thunderbirds, but Benson was one of the leaders all along the way. He had 98 points, which led the team in scoring, 36 goals this season, a dynamic playmaker with great offensive instincts and vision, and a great ability to execute with quick hands and decisiveness with the puck. Now, what makes Benson interesting is that he is an undersized player at 5'10". He's not the kind of guy that really fits the profile that NHL teams are looking for in top 10 picks. That said, he's also probably one of the fiercest competitors in this draft with an aggressiveness on the puck, tremendous tenacity, and even drew the praise of Connor Bedard as one of the hardest players to play against in the WHL. Now, Benson, with that size, the other concern is he's not a great skater, and that is a problem, and it is going to be something that could potentially hold him back and does add more risk to his projection. That's the thing that a lot of NHL scouts are trying to determine right now. Is the hockey sense high-end enough, which I believe it is, to offset the concerns about the skating and the size? Now, you can be undersized, and 5'10", we're starting to see enough NHL players at that size compete and find roles in the league. But it's a lot harder for them to do it when they're not a great skater. So that's why I think there's quite a bit of risk, and why ultimately Benson dropped ever so slightly in my rankings. Still a top 10 prospect in my view. The reason that I feel like he can still be a top-tier guy is the way that he battles and competes. The amount of times that he takes pucks off of opposing players is simply outstanding, and his ability to create those opportunities for offense for his team off of those turnovers that he forces is pretty incredible. We saw it all the step of the way. He was a great player for Canada at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup this year. He did it again in the WHL level and playing that leading role for Winnipeg, and he was even good in the WHL playoffs, being a very tenacious, hard-to-play-against player. Now, when you get to the NHL, it's a lot harder to take pucks off of players. Even though he does have good strength for his size, he's still going to need to get much stronger to be able to do what he does at the NHL level. You look at various players like Matt Zuccarello, Braden Point, they have found ways to be more competitive, and that allowed them to play at their size and to play a long time. And in the case of Braden Point, become a top-tier player in the NHL. Can Benson be that? Well, the skating ability is definitely going to have to improve. The strength is going to have to improve, but he has that hockey sense that I think is so important in today's players. He anticipates plays exceptionally well. He's able to anticipate what the opposing forward or defenseman is going to do, which makes him more effective on the forecheck and good in the offensive zone. He never quits on a play. Even though he doesn't necessarily have the pace, he will always keep that motor running, and he'll be able to get back quickly enough to make a play on a puck and then to get things going in the other direction. He's a wing, which is definitely something that, there's a lot of good centers in this draft, which is why Benson very well could slip outside of the top 10 and maybe is likely to slip outside of the top 10. He's been very high on a lot of the public lists this year, but you talk to more NHL scouts and they raise those concerns and they consider the risk. Sometimes drafting players is just about risk management as much as it is about the skill of the player. And so Benson might have more doubters. But again, the reason I believe he can still be a top 10 pick and is a top 10 prospect on our list on FloHockey is because of that competitive drive. I think he is an elite competitor, and that can go a long way. That tenacity, that motor, that's what strikes me. But again, he also has tremendous skill. A guy that puts up 98 points, yes, he was on a good team. Yes, he was surrounded by good players, but he made those players better. And the fact that he scored a lot of goals from in tight around the net, didn't do a lot of his scoring from distance, is a good indication that he's willing to go to the dirty areas to make the plays that he needs to make. He's a really good shooter off the puck, off the pass, so a good one-timer. He's able to get and dig pucks out of trouble. He can battle along the walls. He can play well down low. Again, all of that becomes harder at the NHL level. But as he continues to get stronger, as he continues to add more pace to his game, if he can, and that's not always an easy thing to do, he has the hockey sense and the competitive drive to make a significant difference. And that is why I think that Zach Benson belongs in the discussion to be a top 10 pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. Again, number 8 on our list. on FloHockey. You can read our complete draft rankings on FloHockey.tv and the Flo Sports app. Make sure you subscribe to FloHockey's YouTube page because we have a lot more scouting reports just like these coming your way very soon. That'll do it for this one. I'm Chris Peters. We'll see you next time.